Are Republican Trump supporters more racist than other Republicans? Well, according to a HuffPost pollster, Republican Trump supporters are more likely to dislike minority groups, making them, yes, more racist. Now, in order to find this out, they asked a series of feeling thermometer questions, which asked respondents to place various groups and political figures on a scale from 100, which is very warm or favorable, to 0, very cold or unfavorable. Oh, here we go. Turns out that Trump supporters that are Republicans are more likely than supporters of other Republican candidates to have negative feelings towards feminists, Muslims, Latinos, gays, and lesbians, as well as transgender people. Well, that's no surprise, right? I mean, we're talking about Republicans here. So it's fair to say that negative attitudes of these minority groups were already fairly prevalent within the party. But it appears that Donald Trump has attracted the worst of these attitudes. Now, in contrast, it's really no surprise that Republican Trump supporters have far warmer feelings towards white people than supporters of other candidates. According to the ones conducting these polls, quote, one possible explanation for the results presented above is that the attitudes about race and racial identity are stronger motivations for Trump supporters compared to supporters of other candidates. As racial identity becomes more increasingly important for a white Trump supporter, they express significantly more negative feelings towards both Muslims and Latinos. However, racial identity does not play the same role for supporters of other Republican candidates. That's interesting, because this is strong evidence that white racial identity plays a more important role in how Trump supporters evaluate people of color compared to those who support other candidates. There's a reason prominent white supremacists are backing Donald Trump, and had been from the beginning of the primary. And it's not because of his policy ideas. They don't look at Donald Trump and say, I really like this guy's position on Citizens United. He's right. That is a disaster. No. They look at him and say, he says the things about the Mexicans and the Muslims that I've always wanted to say, or have always said. He's normalized racist stereotypes. Donald Trump has successfully ran his own modern-day Southern strategy. It's not against African Americans, but Muslims and Latinos. Basically, he played off the fears of Islamic terrorism and immigration. In fact, this is probably the reason that Ann Coulter has been fangirling over Trump and his wall. It's the racism. It's the xenophobia. But let me get something clear, right? Now, I say that, right? But I didn't, I'm not going to say, and I didn't mean that Donald Trump started this racism, right? Nor do I think he is an actual racist. Let me explain. The xenophobic anger and hatred have existed in America for a very, very long time. In part because it's very, very easy to divide people based on skin color and ethnic background. One of the consequences of living in a heterogeneous society, such as ours, which has many different people and is considered, and look, I consider America's strength from its diversity, right? Well, not only is it a strength, but you can also have a weakness in the fact that we can be divided so easily. And Trump is one of those people. It's so easy for someone to come and take advantage of people's ethnic differences to turn them against each other. And they can play those up. And they can use that to distract them. While, of course, the rich and powerful extract wealth and solidify their power base. Think about it this way. Is it much easier to believe that the entirety of the African American population are lazy criminals with predispositions to violence, or that a few super rich people have found an effective way to stay rich and powerful by using the oldest trick in the book? Divide and conquer. I'd say it's pretty easy. And the Republican Party, it's not as if they haven't used this tactic before. Remember, in the South? But now, you got to remember racism isn't just a Southern thing. It's everywhere. And if it's not overt, it's systemic. Disaffected white conservatives have been primed by Fox News, right-wing hate radio, and hate websites to respond to the dog whistle politics of hate and division. And that's what Donald Trump has used to his benefit. Now you might be asking, how does this not make him a racist? Well, Trump is a showman. He's playing to the crowd. He's essentially a walking advertisement aimed at this very demographic of people who feel like they have absolutely no power and have been told to blame the powerless for it. Trump is nothing more than a mirror that is reflecting the darkest part of America. He did not create this vat of toxic racism that we see today. No. Quite the opposite. That vat of toxic racism created him. And that's the truth of it.